Welcome into this edition of BlueSky Live. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford Studio on this Columbus Day edition of the podcast. We're back to that again. We will have the
I'm surprised we can still honor him.
Well, it's like dual things, him and Indigenous people. It's all a combination.
Okay.
Blue Sky Live, LSU aftermath, lines for the week, and whatever else we'll talk about over the course
Columbus
of today.
wasn't very politically correct.
Well, he was a failure, frankly. That is my bigger issue with his with the holiday that closes our banking system.
But he probably should have been aware in the 1400s how things were going to be in the 2000s. I mean, he should have had some foresight.
Yeah.
Every day I kind of think, wonder what it's going to be like in 2600. And I try to act accordingly. That's my thing.
Feels difficult, potentially.
You have to spend a lot of time thinking about it because you might offend someone.
I'll get to it in a minute. Blue Sky, I'm not done with Columbus quite yet. We've spent plenty of minutes over the course of the last 14 years or so on Columbus Day. But anyway, Blue Sky Live all over the state of Mississippi. Blue Skies all over the state of Mississippi. Sweet Daddy's locations all over Mississippi. Also, ribs, pulled pork, side items, desserts, and plenty more. So if you're coming into Oxford or leaving the Oxford X sign, you get some fuel up, plenty of convenience stores, plenty of options, and much more. So no matter where you are in Mississippi, there is a Sweet Daddy's and a Blue Sky nearby. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. I'm about to go get some water in a second. I can already tell.
Okay.
Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours, right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is up to you. You can shop it around. You can do what I've done. Excuse me. What I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Guest join on the Campbell Clinic hotline. From fractures and sports injuries to complex spine and limb conditions, the pediatric orthopedic physicians at Campbell Clinic in Oxford are the only specialized orthopedic team in North Mississippi providing expert care for growing bodies. Visit CampbellClinicOxford.com to schedule an appointment or call 901-759-3111.
You want to go now or you want to go later? What do you want to do?
You can go ahead. I've got a little coffee.
You okay at the moment?
I'm okay.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. No, what I saw is I don't know if Columbus in this deal is a bigger deal in other countries, but the fact that this got made and apparently was popular is a documentary thriller. I'm reading from Morning Brew's newsletter this morning. Documentary thriller was the way they titled it, that aired on Spain's national broadcaster on Saturday, staged as a reality show, trying to break down theories regarding Christopher Columbus's lineage, exactly what happened, the whole deal of more than how many ever years ago, 500 years ago from it happening, and the conflicting theories where, so the show, they took each of the competing theories, was eliminated until one remained. And people watched this. They actually followed this all the way down from 25 to 1 theory on what Columbus's lineage was, what happened, the whole deal.
Oh.
And the conclusion was that he actually is from Spain, not Italy. Came from a 20-year genetic investigation of some of the remains or whatnot. But I just thought that I would have to get really far down the wormhole to go, you know what? I need to see 25 theories about what Christopher Columbus was or where he came from, and let me know what's up with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever gotten that bored.
I've watched some weird...
in our house as a kid, we really didn't... My parents did not like the word "I'm bored." Those words...
I could see that.
Those words were usually met with, "Here's a rake." You didn't say that a lot. So I don't know that I've ever allowed myself to get bored enough to watch that much Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, I saw it was Columbus Day, and I'm sure there's plenty of federal employees out there that are telling me to shut up. They're really enjoying their day off, and I get it. I have no qualms.
Bank
but
employees.
I was mildly frustrated when I got up about no bank being open and no mail running today. I'm waiting on a couple things in the mail. I was sort of like, okay, tomorrow. That's fine. Like, I just had look, I've turned 40. I'm getting a little grumpier with old age. Things bother me in ways they shouldn't. I'm trying to be aware of it. I'm trying to understand it and back off of it. But this morning, that was one of my little 10-second temper tantrums of Jesus. Okay, fine.
My wife drove back from Northwest Arkansas from club soccer. Got back around 8:40 last night. I promise you, she's very thrilled to have today off. Elated, in fact.
Speaking of Devils. Sorry, not really Devils.
Oh, bless you.
Peppermints, Gatorade.
Little room service.
Yeah, those look good.
Yeah. You want one?
No, because I'll end up chewing it and everybody will yell at me. I just know myself. I won't be able to just sit it there. Yeah. Anyway, we're getting into LSU and stuff. Marathon training is going fine. The 6th, he's marathon week for you. Congratulations. I've got to kind of reset a little bit now that bye weeks here. I had a mentally difficult 2 weeks, but we're okay. We've got 6 weeks left. We'll make it. I'll be very happy when it's over, but we're all right. It's going okay.
Woman broke the women's record in Chicago yesterday.
Kenyon, 209,
something like that. Something to shoot for.
That's fast.
Rolling.
I would be elated if I were halfway done at that point.
Yeah,
I won't be. I'll be close, but not quite. So if I'm half the halfway point, you better worry about me in about 10 miles after that. Let's put it that way. So, but yeah, it was impressive. All right, LSU. I'm done. I know we're just. CC says I listen to this pod much less these days in large part because how grumpy or ordinary y'all have become. It's not related to Ole Miss in any way.
Well, who's grumpy and ornery? I don't feel like I'm ornery at all.
I think the bigger thing there is the balance of trying to give a well-rounded podcast with everything going on in the world of athletics and trying to dissect it with information and entertainment, the entire thing. I don't know that the sport is in a place where you just put your head in the sand and go, this is awesome and there are no problems. I don't think that's a fair podcast at this point.
Well, I mean, listen, I don't want to name names, but there's someone who spent the entire summer doing this team's going to win the intergalactic championship of the free world and nothing else could possibly go wrong, who yesterday tried to say, I told you this was coming. No, you didn't. But that's what happens when you do a singular topic podcast. We don't. I don't feel like we're grumpy and ornery at all. In fact, if anything, I'm less ornery and grumpy these days than I've been in my life. I don't think I'm that at all. Now, I don't live and die based on a football team. I've said this all along. I mean, we built this. You'd be a fool with Ole Miss or anyone else for that matter, even Georgia or Alabama or Ohio State. You'd be a fool to say, okay, here's our model's going to be this. They're going to win all their games. No, I mean, that's idiotic. We cover it. I was there Saturday night. I did what I would have done had they won. I wrote a column, wrote a notebook, put up Lane's postgame, got on the postgame show, drove back to Hammond. That was kind of the funny part, getting on the message board at 2:15 in the morning, and people would hit the report button, and you're like, "What do you want me to do?" You know, at 3 in the morning.
Well, you guys are kind of. You mentioned in the stream. I think it was a message board thread today. You are going through in a way the stages of grief after Saturday, and I understand it. You put you put your own money, you put your time, you put your capital, everything into it. I'm not making fun in any capacity here. And I think that's what you see on the message board that I sort of follow along to get an idea of the collective thought of where you guys are, because you're really, really pissed off, you're upset, and then you sort of come out of it and we start able to laugh a little bit and have a little fun and move toward the next week. And look, you got a bye week, so you got 14 days of this before Ole Miss and Oklahoma. But, you know, we spent a lot of time on the post-game show. I try to do a better job of sort of resetting after the watch-along on Saturday night and then recap and really kind of back up and talk about everything for just the podcast version. And I think there's a lot to this in a ton of ways, because you can sit here and you can be Pollyanna, and you're not wrong if you go, hey, they're 2 plays away from 7-0 and the program's in good shape.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. You can go, yeah, but it's just regression to the mean of averages, and you went 4-0 in 1-score games last year, and you've lost a couple, and you probably are due to win one now. Okay, cool, sweet. It's true. Fine.
Certainly possible.
Don't hate that idea. Then you get the minutia, and you simply haven't made the winning plays in the teams you play have. They're 3 for 3 on 4th downs that would have won you the game had you stopped them to this point. LSU got 2, Kentucky got 1. And it's the bigger overarching theme of where I think the program is and you guys' mood and everything else is that everything was geared toward this one season. And I know I talked to Ben Portnoy from SPJ about this a couple weeks ago when I had him on the podcast, but in general, I think in today's world, program health is not in even dollars and culture and anything like that. Program health in a lot of ways because NIL is so attached to your success at 98% of the programs in the country is your ability as a fan base to take a totality instead of a 1 year approach. And look, it's not your fault. It's Lane Kiffin's fault. Last Dance, the whole thing. That is what created this. The Peach Bowl, and I wrote and said this, was a launch pad for 2024 and what was to be expected. And you went 11-2, and you went the whole deal, and all that kind of stuff. That everything is geared toward this season having to be something to get to the next, or to reestablish or establish, or doing whatever you're doing. And when you lose 2 games and you get put here, everything that you pointed to when you had this singular goal is broken. And where you want to be as a program, to where, sure, this season has a singular goal of making the playoffs, but then next year is just going to have the same singular goal, and you feel okay about the future and the progress of the program.
Yeah.
And that's a mindset thing, because nobody's NIL is set up 2-3 years in advance. The hell with that. That's Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, Tennessee, A&M, Vandy, Army, Navy, whoever. But there is a mentality and a PR kind of nature to it where everything's not the end of the world. If LSU goes 9-3, they're not going to go, oh, God, next year we're just screwed. It's not how it's going to work. So that's the next step for this football program, no matter what comes, is everything was geared toward just so much, and the players that have to be replaced and all the stuff. And, we've talked about it, that, NIL momentum really matters, because it does. I mean, your people are giving. I mean, I don't know exact numbers, but the Grove Collective has suffered, I'm sure, after Saturday, because look, our site has suffered after Saturday.
Yeah, I shouldn't have looked at that last night.
I mean, it's light, chill out, no big deal. But
I never look. I never, ever,
Neal, I haven't looked in
looked.
2 years.
Well, I probably had not.
What good does it do? I'm out.
I had a reason to look this summer, and I had not looked since, may have looked once, but I never looked like daily. Just don't need to know. Nothing I can really do about it. And I looked yesterday and went, whoa. Wow. That was kind of hurt my feelings, really, because I got up in Hammond and wrote before I left.
Fewer people to be writing to.
I mean, I wrote probably more words in 10 Weekend Thoughts than I had in a long time. Basically 3 basketball stories in there. I actually tried on SEC rankings, which is a really difficult exercise week after week.
It is.
When you go, I don't know that anybody's really good. Like your point about Ole Miss being 2 plays from 7-0. You can absolutely do that with Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, 2 plays from 7-0. It's true. Arkansas, 1 play from 6-1. It's probably not 2 plays. 1 play from 6-1. Absolutely. Texas A&M is 1 play from undefeated. They played Notre Dame right down to the wire.
They did.
You can do this, and this is the NFL. And I think this is something that people are going to have to start grasping. People get mad at me when I say this. I've learned. If you make it pro sports, that's fine. It's pro sports. Watch pro sports. Most NFL games come down to the final possession. Most NFL games are decided by a score. Most NFL games, you can go, well, you change this play, and they win. You change this play, and they win. It stands to reason that the SEC, which in some ways markets itself as the next best thing to the NFL, or the closest thing to the NFL, I should say. They actually refer to it as a different kind of NFL. It stands to reason that the games start to become 1-score, really close games.
Yeah.
That you might play. You might be able to look back at the end of the year as a 7-5 team and go, man, we were 4 plays from 11-1. Or, no one ever does this. The 11-1 team could look back and go, we were 4 plays from 7-5. Nobody ever goes the other way. And to your point, you could probably have done that with Ole Miss last year. Change a play in the Tulane game. Change a play in the Arkansas game. Change a play in the LSU game, certainly. And instead of being 10-2 going to the Peach Bowl, you'd have been 7-5 going to the Music City. And maybe we wouldn't have had all the Last Dance thing. So it's just kind of an interesting study sort of in psychology a little bit. But I do think if there's a lesson to be learned for Ole Miss, and not that this season's over, it's not. There's still a path to the playoffs. We can debate the merit of that path momentarily, but
Sure.
I think the lesson is, I was having this conversation with an Ole Miss person yesterday. He probably wouldn't want me to put his name out. And he agreed with this. It was, you didn't see anybody else do this. Hey, if we don't make it this year, like the whole Last Dance thing, I sort of got where it came from always.
I get it. It took on a wrong life.
There was never the guy in the room that goes, hey, let's just slow down on this. Because I get it where the players are coming from. For most of these players, it is Last Dance. This is their last year to play college football. They came, some of them decided to come back so they could play with one another. Some of them decided to come to Ole Miss so they could play with that group. There's a bunch of guys on that team that whether this team wins out and wins the national title or loses out, they're gone at the end of the season. They're out of eligibility. They're going to the NFL. But the whole Last Dance thing, it was also the Netflix thing and Michael Jordan and Iconic and all that. I always kept saying, you do know at the end of Last Dance, everybody left and went their separate ways, right?
Yeah, there was no next year.
That's an integral part of the story. They knew in the middle of the year that everyone was leaving. Phil Jackson knew that however that season ended, and it almost ended in a semifinal loss to the Pacers. Had it ended that way, it was still over. They weren't going to regroup and come back. Everyone was leaving. The decision had been made to tear it down. It was the Bulls against the front office. It really didn't carry over, and yet Ole Miss really embraced it, played the Sirius song, Sirius
Yes.
song. Not a serious song, but a song by Sirius that I can't do it. But they played it before one of the home games. I was like, wow, you're really dialing into this, and it's a weird message. And I don't know. I think in some ways it ended up them putting more pressure on themselves than is necessary. One of the things I'm curious to see, because I believe they have played tight. I wonder if they'll relax now. Might not. Might play even tighter. I don't know. And I could be wrong. They might push back and go, we haven't been tight at all. But I do think that has created some of the fan angst. Look, you're going to play next year one way or the other. I mean, like LSU had their 100th year celebration of Tiger Stadium.
They did. And
we were laughing, me and this Ole Miss person. They weren't like, all right, this is it. We're burning it down tonight. No, they're going to play next year. I mean, their season's not done. They're certainly in playoff contention, although I don't think they're a playoff team. They're in playoff contention, but if it doesn't work out, they'll give it another go next year. So will Ole Miss. So will everyone else.
Well, look, and let me make this clear. My words got taken out of context a little on Saturday night. So
you almost led to an arrest or something.
Apparently, it was. I'm not saying it was the wrong decision. It has garnered Ole Miss into a lot of places. Again, Ole Miss won 11 games last year. They are a team that is successful in the transfer portal, and the people that go, "Oh my God, you cannot turn a transfer portal class into a playoff team." Well, you can because they did last year. That's stupid.
Yeah,
that's recency bias and emotion coming off Saturday.
Yeah,
so calm the hell down. You can do it. You figure out what your plan is, and you can make it work. Because Ole Miss has made it work. They would have been in the playoffs in 21 and 23. 2 of the last 3 years. Okay. Prior to that, they would not have been in the playoffs but once in a really long-ass time. So it's working relative to anything else you have done.
And 21 really wasn't a transfer season. That was a group that had been kind of home built. Yeah. Last year was last year was
the whole thing.
Yeah.
So look, you have to get it right. You got to have multi-year players. You got to have some culture built up. You got to do a lot of stuff. But we said going in, to our credit, one of the things we've gotten exactly right was it's so transfer portal heavy with 1-year guys. And so many guys automatically taking all these 2 deep spots that how are they going to handle it when adversity hits? What happens? What does it look like? They're, nationally seen as mercenaries. Not saying they are or aren't, just that's the way it's seen. And when you make, and again, this is my point. Sorry, I got off track. My point is the program, Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a football program, is Lane Kiffin and transfer portal. That's what they're known as.
Yes.
And a really effective, efficient collective. Those three things are what they are known as.
Yes.
Well, when you're known as that and not the Ole Miss football program that's continuously and perennially competitive, it is going to create more angst about, well, what if Lane leaves? What if the portal doesn't work? And that's not the way. You know what I mean? When you have a set identity and then the things that are your identity are called into question, that's a much bigger deal on where are we and where do we go and the panic button than simply, hey, we're sort of a program that's operating right here, but we'll figure it out. We'll operate however. We have stability in a way that you don't have. And again, there's this nuance. But when you don't have stability as in what you are sort of considered as, I think it increases the level of exposure to emotion and problems and this sort of negative thought that's comes after this. But again, you guys are like every other college football fan base. You lose 2 games and you're kind of on the cusp of being out of the playoffs. You're all kind of freaked out. That's not silent to yourself.
If you went into the season thinking you were a playoff team and then suddenly on October the 14th, there's a real possibility that you're not.
I mean, Andrew Bone, who's covered Alabama for a long time, wrote something yesterday begging Alabama fans to stay committed to the program. Yeah. Alabama. Mm-hmm. They've lost once. And they beat South Carolina by 2 points on Saturday. Should have lost.
One play. South Carolina, 2 plays from being a 1-loss team. And yet they're a 3-loss team.
And look, you guys.
Florida took Tennessee to overtime.
Yeah. And look, Saturday had to be incredibly frustrating for you in a ton of ways. Neal and I were talking about yesterday, just sort of off air. Ducks were on air. Well, all right. Let's come back. We'll come back from break and we'll get into this because I'm not done and I don't want to stop in a second. So before we do that, I'll tell you about the Ole Miss Athletics Foundation. Ole Miss men's basketball hosting Illinois on Sunday, October 27th. That's 11 a.m. the day after the Oklahoma game. The Exhibition Sports Casa of North Mississippi. So stick around after Oklahoma. Get your first look at the men's basketball team while helping a great cause. Season tickets on sale for men's and women's basketball. So call the ticket office or visit OleMissSports.com. Another ticket news. Baseball renewals are going through Halloween. And they also, you can come help open the new softball stadium. Season tickets ranging from $100 to $150. So again, that's 662-915-7159 to lock in your seats.
Brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, different names, same great people, products, and services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, Batesville, the surrounding area, call Comer 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call Southern 662-429-4429. I wrote a post-game column. It was probably early Sunday morning by the time it was posted, but it was written and it was sponsored by Window Hero. From window cleaning to pressure washing, gutter cleaning, gutter guards, and everything in between, Window Hero has the experience, equipment, and expertise to make your property look and feel brand new. If you're in North Mississippi, let Window Hero make your home or business's exterior look amazing. Their experts are fully bonded and insured. They provide specialized equipment, exclusive cleaning solutions, a satisfaction guarantee, and much more. Get in touch with Roby and Susan Allen at Window Hero, 662-510-7077. Learn more at windowhero.com. Elevate your game day look with socks that financially support the Rebels. Every step you take shapes the future of Ole Miss athletics. Visit deadsoxy.com. Choose a subscription to receive the latest in Ole Miss styles every month or at an interval that best suits you. With a subscription, you'll receive 25% off member pricing, free shipping, and a free gift with your first order. So take the next step, upgrade your socks, and as always, stay soxy. Southern Q Sauced Craft Barbecue Sauce sponsors a Monday report that I'll publish later today. It's business as usual from a media standpoint today, and I assume tomorrow. Southern Q Sauce, crafted by hand in small batches to capture that tangy, sweet, smoky taste with just enough heat. They also have multiple rubs: Old Faithful, Old Smoky, Honey Pecan, the Clucker, the Longhorn. Whether you're a professional pitmaster or an occasional backyard chef, Southern Q Sauce has the sauces and rubs to have your friends and family coming back for more. Check it out for yourself. Go to southernqsauce.com. Use the discount code RebelGrove for 15% off your order. We're brought to you by Rustic Revivals, based out of Flowood, Mississippi. Rustic Revivals Furniture Company builds tables and other furniture by hand with locally sourced lumber. The husband and wife team of Josh and Ashley Pierce specialize in custom ordered tables, beds, dressers, coffee tables, bookshelves, decorative cabinets, chairs, and more. They also have a limited selection of ready for pickup pieces available in their shop. Rustic Revivals delivers within 250 miles of Flowwood. All pieces are sealed for protection. Podcast listeners get 10% off their purchase by using the code REBELS10. Go to rusticrevivalsms.com, Rustic Revivals MS on Facebook, or Rustic Revivals on Instagram. You can also call them directly, 228-217-1243. I mentioned 10 Weekend Thoughts. That's up at rebelgrove.com. There's a lot there. Please check it out. If you're retiring soon, it's brought to you, I should say, by Andrew Sego Wealth Management. If you're retiring soon, maybe you're wondering how long you should take Social Security. You're wondering what accounts you should pull from first. Maybe you're already retired. You're wondering about Roth conversions. These are just some of the questions that can only be answered with a personalized retirement income plan. Andrew Sego Wealth Management specializes in helping folks just like you come up with their retirement game plan. Whether you meet at his office in Collierville or prefer Zoom from anywhere, schedule a free discovery meeting. See what he can do for you. It's rebelsretire.com.
For men in the Jackson area, maybe if you're dealing with certain things like low energy levels, no motivation, decreasing muscularity, increased belly fat, difficulty sleeping, and much more, make an appointment today at themanthing.com. Men's Clinic in Madison and Brandon, offering testosterone optimization, body composition analysis, medical grade supplements, lab panels, and plenty more, depending on what is bothering you. Their mission is to help patients realize the absolute best version of themselves. They want patients to remain as healthy and strong as possible through the aging process. They optimize sleep, testosterone, reducing inflammation, treating insulin resistance, and much more. So in Madison, that's 601-607-7869. Brandon, 769-241-9012. Again, themanthing.com. So, yeah, I mean, Saturday, it had to be frustrating number of levels. LSU goes, 6 of 16 on third downs. Nussmeier essentially had 30 incomplete passes. I guess it was 29, but we'll call it 30 for the sake of the rounding on that. Jackson Dart, probably for a lot of reasons, has not played overly well. It was another really bad day throwing the deep ball. It was one of my keys for Saturday morning when I made a message board post. He was 3 of 12. So when I'm doing the math now, he's 6 for his last 29.
And one of those was Trey's catch.
One of those was Trey's.
I don't know how the hell he caught it.
Yeah. Was that at least 20 yards in the air?
I think so. I don't know.
He had one touchdown, so whatever that would have been. Now, look, Trey did drop one, too, that was more than 20 yards in the air that hit him right in the
That's true.
In the chest.
So it cancels out.
And he was pressured on 5 of the 12 deep throws.
Got hit a lot
On Saturday. So it's all these things on offense. You got the running back situation. I wrote about Ulysses Bentley. Neal wrote about Ulysses Bentley. We got the running back stuff in spades of whatever the hell is or isn't going on there. Dart has not played very well. They have centered on one wide receiver to this point through most of the process, including when Trey got hurt. They just moved Caden Lee into Trey's place and did the same thing with him throughout the rest of the game. I think Caden Lee had 13 targets on Saturday, if I have that right. They have not used the tight end anywhere near where they have in the past under Lane Kiffin. And one of the Lane's offensive sort of prototypes was using the tight end and running the football when he got to Ole Miss, and it's one of the calling cards that made them successful early in his tenure. I think Caden Priestcorn had close to double-digit catches in the Peach Bowl. Caden Priestcorn has 3 catches on the year right now. That's it.
Yeah.
Through 7 games.
Yeah, he's just not a part of the offense.
Not using middle of the field except deep. Not using the tight end at this point. Lane completely prepped for the tight end question last night, including having the snap counts in front of him, which I found kind of odd. Unless that was just a sheet, but I don't know. That felt weird to me in the answer.
Yet that wasn't typically someone who I would expect for a planted question.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no.
Maybe maybe it was on his mind. I don't know.
But he was real prepared for it.
Dart's seen some ghost. Ole Miss's offensive line continuity has been bad. There's a lot of stuff offensively relative to what you expect to see. So it goes deeper than simply score result. You got all the stuff that score result going on, and then that. And then on defense, again, you played pretty well in most facets. This was not the defense you lost the game, but never hit Nussmeier, not one time. Didn't sack him. LSU still has only given up 1 sack on the season per Pro Football Focus. They got close to home a lot. They had 18 pressures just between 3 defensive linemen, Pegues, Ivy, and Nolan. I think Centurion Perkins had 4 pressures himself. So that's 22 pressures where you don't get home among your 4 best defenders from a rushing the quarterback perspective.
And some of that is he's a big, strong kid.
Sure.
I mean, he didn't have a great first half. I thought he had a really good fourth quarter, Nussmeier. I mean, some of the throws that and then some of the throws in the second half that he missed were close.
Mm-hmm.
Like a couple of fly routes down the sideline, and he just missed. But it was close. You could see him getting hot. And then, Lane talked about it yesterday. People criticize Lane for talking about it, but he's right. They had 3 possessions up 4, where if you go score a touchdown, it's ball game. And they got a field goal out of those 3 possessions. And so you're up 7. And then LSU, to LSU's credit, put together a 13-play, 75-yard drive with the game on the line. Where one mistake and you're done. Punched it in the end zone, a big-time throw on the 23-yard pass to Anderson. And then Ole Miss's overtime possession was an absolute
that was a disaster.
I mean, I don't even know where to start. It was bad. And frankly, the third down play maybe it was the second down play, before the 57-yard kick, the ball was in the LSU safety's hands. Literally was in his hands. I was down there. I was looking right. It was in his hands. And there was some contact, and he dropped it. Because he had to be consoled for a moment by a couple of his teammates. Like, come on, get up. You don't have time for this. Let's go.
We got to go.
We got to go. It was, and once the game gets to that place, it's one play here, one play there. It's there.
No, your defense was playing well, and you should have scored 27 points in the first half. You had 5 red zone possessions and turned 5 red zone possessions into 13 points. That was the game.
Yeah, I thought the game was the first quarter. You should have been up 14-0.
Yeah, the first 25 minutes.
And then it's night-night. They're not coming back from that probably. And then you got up 10-0, and they drove right down the field and scored 10-7. And then you went up 17-7, and you gave up 2 field goals in the final minute of the second half. Well, 17-10 and 17-13 are different deals. And then Ole Miss got it first coming out of the break, and you thought, well, they'll go score. And they didn't. And so as the game shortens, the crowd got into it just like we expected. And, it happened. Austin, thank you for the super chat. I do not believe in curses. I'll just tell you that now.
And he says that even as a Cubs fan.
I just don't. I believe in laws of averages.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in curses. Austin, also thank you for another super chat. If you had to guess what the football program at Ole Miss looks like in 7 weeks, the Saturday after the Egg Bowl, what do you think it looks like?
I mean, a team where we're wondering who's going to play in a bowl game.
That's what I think too. I'll answer this in a second. I just want to touch these. Drew, thank you for the super chat. This is going to be a crazy year. There's a chance the SEC championship is 2 10-2 teams. I don't think so, but you could be right. Facing off and a ton of 9-3 behind them. The playoffs are a mess with SEC teams left out due to record. Making sure I didn't miss any others. Chuck, thank you for the super chat. He says it's your podcast. Fork 'em.
Real quick to that. One thing Drew said that I was thinking when I saw his super chat and I forgot about it. It's you when you were talking about the NFL model. It's true, but it's actually harder to be successful from a straight math standpoint in college, because if you want to understand the thought of, okay, to be 100% assured of the playoff, you got to finish top 3 in the SEC. 4 probably gets you in. There might be a year where 5 gets in.
Yeah.
In today's concept.
Yeah.
That's out of 16. In the NFL, you're trying to finish the top 7 out of 16.
Right.
It's a whole different animal.
Whole different thing.
So while, yes, you have to understand that games are coming down to one possession, the margin of being a playoff team and not a playoff team relative to your competition
Mhm.
is so damn small and so hard
Yeah, and
and
here's
so schedule based.
and here's the thing that I think it's a frustrating answer, but I think it's the true answer. What do you think the committee is going to do? I have no idea because this is the first time the committee's ever fielded a 12-team playoff. We don't know. There's no data. I mean, you realize that there's zero data to indicate what the committee will do when forced to choose at-large teams. There's no data. Everything is a guess. Not even really an educated guess. Just a guess. They might take a bunch of 3-loss SEC teams. They might eliminate them all. I don't know. You don't know. No one knows. Hell, they might not know yet. I don't know. What is it going to look like? I don't know. There's zero data. Next season, you'll at least be able to refer back to 2024.
Yeah.
This year, there's nothing to refer back to. They might take a 3-loss team. I don't know. Is there a computer formula? I don't know. No one knows. So when people go, do you think they're eliminated? I mean, look, I talked to someone yesterday who was like, I'll be honest, I think we're already eliminated. Now, that's I think, capital THINK, think. They don't know. Concern about resume, right? There's already a concern that in a world where you won out, you just don't have anything on your resume. I wrote about this in 10 Thoughts. I mean, a world where Ole Miss goes 10-2 right now, the resume's kind of blah. But blah might get you in on the numbers alone. And it might not. You don't know because there's no data. There is no precedent.
Let's look at this receiving thing. Everybody's talking about the numbers, not using tight ends, not using receivers. Trey Harris leads Ole Miss with 74 targets on the season, and that's in a situation of being hurt for some of 2 games to this extent. Out a good bit against LSU and out against South Carolina. 74 targets. Second place for Ole Miss, Caden Lee, 34 targets. Again, a lot of those have come in Trey's absence in these 2 games.
Yeah.
Past that, Juice Wells is third, 33 targets. However, Juice is only converting 51% of his targets into catches right now. Has not played well. Whether it comes to him, he and Dark's connection, whatever, he's not completing the passes from Dart. Blame it on whoever the hell you want.
Sure.
Just saying statistically, that's where it is. As opposed to Caden Lee, who's turning 79.4% of his targets into catches, and Trey Harris 79.7 at this point. Now, again, Caden Lee and Trey Harris are the 2 guys that benefit the most from the short RPO game that simulates run plays as pass plays. So their receiving percentages are going to be higher than a Juice who's going to be farther down the field. But even so, that's a glaring number there. Jordan Watkins, 68.4. Henry Parrish, 64.7. Caden Priestcorn, he's just not getting thrown at. He's converted 80% of his targets into catches this season.
Mm-hmm.
But he has only 15 targets on the year, 12 catches.
Yeah.
So I was wrong. It's not 3, it's 12. But either way, good enough.
When you said that, I was getting nervous because I wrote 12 in 10
Okay,
Thoughts.
you're right. 15 targets, 12 catches. 203 yards, averaging 16 yards per catch. 1 touchdown. So he has eclipsed Dawson Knox's career touchdown total. Daquan Wright, 8 targets, 5 catches. And then Naril White has 6 targets. Micah Davis, 5. Aiden Williams, 4 targets on the season. Yeah. Hasn't played in SEC games unless there was like a 2-snap day that I don't remember. Bentley, 4 catches, 4 targets.
Who?
You made a good point, too. I will say this. Henry Parrish and Matt Jones have done nothing wrong.
Yeah, this is a pet peeve of mine.
They should not be negatively discussed just simply because Ole Miss has not played Ulysses Bentley. Matt Jones is maybe the best story on the team. He's a walk-on that earned playing time, whether it should be as an SEC back or not. He's a good guy.
Oh, he's a great kid.
Maybe the best kid on the damn team.
I mean, you could make the argument.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
No.
And Henry Parrish is just running the football. Whatever is or is not happening is not Henry Parrish's fault.
They recruited him back, and he came back. And he plays really hard.
He likes it here. And he's a solid SEC running back. You need Henry Parrish.
Yeah.
He's not a liability.
And this doesn't speak to most fans, but there's a segment of the fans that are almost mad at those guys, and they've done nothing wrong. You want to get mad at Lane? Cool. Should. Kevin Smith? Yeah, I'd love to know what that interaction was on the sideline after Bentley's 50-yard touchdown run the other night.
Yeah, I don't know what connotation was. He just simply yelled and pointed in his direction.
And it might have been, we did it.
Yeah, yay. I don't know.
I don't know. I'd love to know. I don't know. I have no idea, and I've not talked to anyone who does know. Well, it's not really the point, Bentley. He says, who cares about a story? The point's not who cares about a story. You're really, really missing it here. The point is that people are turning him into almost a villain, and when he's anything but.
Yeah, it's not his fault. Now, look, I think Bentley should play. I mean, look, there's a big thread on the board right now about pass blocking and who's good, who's bad. Is that the reason? And look, statistically, yes, Henry Parrish is a better pass blocker than Ulysses Bentley. Frankly, Matt Jones is the best pass blocker of the three,
right.
Statistically.
Yes.
However, running the football is a pretty large portion of playing the running back position. I mean, putting a guy, again, this is not at Parrish or Jones because it's not about that. I'm just saying using the argument in a general theory of I'm going to play the guy at running back that only pass blocks and doesn't run doesn't make any sense. So that's it. This has become my one thing that I do get right a little bit on the in-game show or the post-game show with Tyler, because he knows like 7,000% more football than I do, and I succumb to that always. But Tyler has also been kind of in the system forever, so I do like stopping him and go, okay, that doesn't make it smart. Just because it's the way everybody's always done it,
right,
doesn't mean you can be too close to something in some situations where you go, hold on a minute, I get it, I understand, You're right on why. Not arguing that, but just because that's the reason does not make it kind of stupid in some situations. It's back to my 4-minute offense thing last week that I still didn't understand.
One of the things that I think very clearly was happening, look, if Matt Jones doesn't get hurt, I don't think Bentley plays Saturday night.
I don't either.
And what was pretty clear in the game, the reason they kept going back to Parrish is because Parrish had gotten the practice reps. The game plan was put in with Parrish as the running back. A lot of the game plan probably wasn't repped with Bentley at running back. So not Ole Miss, not anybody. Pick your team, go with it. They don't practice the guy. They don't play the guys that don't rep. That's just football coaches. Across the board. Probably with zero exceptions. They don't feel comfortable just throwing somebody in there unprepared unless they have to. And I'm curious to see what happens when Jones comes back. I mean, I like a good soap opera.
Oh, that would be one. What do you think? Jones is healthy.
I don't know.
Bentley over under 8 carries against Oklahoma.
Over. Lane hinted at. Lane hinted at some stuff yesterday, I thought.
What? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, just kind of, they're going to take the break and they're going to look at some things and they might do some new things. They might put some new people in and some people might get back. And I think they know they've got to shake up. He refers to Jaden Williams so often now that it's pretty obvious that they think this is a major issue with Williams not back. And I think
it is.
It is. Yeah. Diego Pounds could not block.
He's become their most important offensive lineman and he's out.
Yeah. So I think
Pounds allowed the most pressures of anybody on Moses' offensive line on Saturday.
4 ran right by him.
Yeah.
Over and over. I mean, just over and over. Frankly, I've seen people complain about the holding calls and lack of holding calls. I can do this one. You know this. I watched 3.5 quarters of the game, line of scrimmage, binoculars. Chase, they could have flagged. We could still be there. They could have flagged every play. It was wild. They really got to it, unless it was egregious, they just didn't call it. Lots of reaching. I mean, I don't even want to go there. I hate that conversation. I probably hate it more than I hate anything. But No, they missed Jaden Williams. I think he comes back. I think they've got to do something about the interior of the offensive line. It's got to get better.
I mean, that's somewhat baffling. I mean, you had Caleb Warren's a pretty capable run blocker. I think he played 4 snaps on Saturday. I don't know what Jeremy James' health situation is, but I think he was listed as a game time decision, and he's gone through warm-ups and looked fairly okay 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. They don't tell us these things. I don't know.
They played 6 offensive linemen on 7 offensive linemen on Saturday.
At this point, I think they have to think about trying to shake up the offensive front.
But it's hard to do with Williams out because
and it's hard to do in the middle of the season.
There's not a left tackle outside of Pounds if Williams is out.
Right.
That's had any. I mean, if there is, he has never played there, and I don't know it. Because offensive line, they played McIntyre, Pounds, and Pettis all 87 snaps, 100% of the snaps on Saturday. They played Kalepo inside, 81 snaps, 93%. Scott and Below kind of switched out, 49 and 40 for the most part.
Because he got hurt.
Yeah.
Bulow did.
And then Warren 3 snaps. I thought it was 4, but it's 3. Okay. No, sorry, 4 total. 3 pass play, 1 run play, 4 total snaps.
Yeah.
So 5%. Ole Miss only played 4 wide receivers the whole game. And that's with Trey hurt.
That's what they do.
Caden, 95%. Watkins, 83%. Harris, 62%. Wells, 56%.
That's what they do.
They went 2 tight ends a couple times, and then they kind of alternated between Wright and Prescorn. But Wright played 24 more snaps than Prescorn played on Saturday.
Yeah, Lane referenced him having a really good year, Daquan. I don't know. I mean, I went into the season, I thought there were 2 trouble areas, and they've both been exposed in these losses. I worried about their offensive front. I didn't get the hype. Just because you go add dudes from the transfer portal doesn't mean that they're really good players. And then I worried about safety play. And I still do. I think they're susceptible.
Somebody asking about Watkins, stat line. He caught 3 passes, 25 yards. He had 3 or 4 targets. I think it was 4 targets, 3 catches, 25 yards. Wells did not have a catch on 3 targets. Watkins made 1 really good play, having to sort of box out the defender on the sidelines on a key 3rd down. I thought when he got an opportunity, he played well on Saturday. He's always been sure-handed in college football.
He's always been a big part of their plan. Suddenly he's not.
At all.
And I don't know why.
That's what I'm saying. It looks different. To the eye, you can go, hey, this doesn't look right in all. But then, and I get the frustration for fans because you ask Lane, and I get not getting every answer in the media. I understand it. But at the same time, when you go, no, it's what you do, it's like, but it's not. We all have eyes. You're not using the middle of the field. You're not using the tight end. You're not using the short passing game. You're not doing the things I've watched you do 4 or 5 years. So when that happens, everybody's going to scratch their head and go, huh? On what was supposed to be, at least on paper, a pretty deep offense.
Mm-hmm.
And Jackson doesn't look right. Doesn't look comfortable in the offense. Whether that's protection, whether that's trust in his receivers, I don't know.
Right. Agreed.
0 answer. Don't know. But whatever it is, he doesn't look right. And frankly, he might be feeling a little. I mean, he really, really, really cares. And you saw him devastated after the game. He was human.
Yeah.
Whether he should or shouldn't have acted that way, he was human. And it's right after the game. I'm giving him a break. I'm not on him.
Oh, yeah. No, I am too. I would have liked for someone to have said, hey, before you go in there, take the hood off your head.
Show your face.
Show your face.
You're the leader.
You're the face of the program.
Mm-hmm.
This is part of it. You want to play in the NFL? You're going to have to address the media after every game, win or lose.
Everybody's getting paid now.
Yeah, you're a highly paid player on this team. Go be the leader. He's 21 years old.
It's tough sometimes.
As the father of a 21-year-old, that's a lot.
Yeah, the play calling, for whatever reason, looks predictable. I don't know. Again, I don't know enough about it to tell you why. I just have eyes.
I don't either. Yeah. No, I generally feel like it looks like the other team sort of knows what's coming sometimes.
And not in a sign-stealing way.
No.
In
a trend.
Yes.
I mean, they've got analysts at LSU too.
They spent a lot of time this week on that.
They crunch numbers the same way Ole Miss crunch numbers.
Mm-hmm.
94% of the time on this, 82% of the time on this. That's all. They're doing it too.
They got a big sheet somewhere that has the stuff on it.
That same staff is right now crunching Arkansas numbers. That's just what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably already people that are looking at the game down the road starting to crunch those numbers.
Yeah.
Getting plans together. Everybody's got these massive staffs. And it's one of the things where I actually really agree with Lane in the offseason where people kept talking about the communication and the iPads. And he was like, well, the other team's going to have them too.
We'll come back and continue this conversation in a second. First, at Citizens Bank, not just an account number. You're a valued member of the community, and now you find yourself in the market for a mortgage. There's another reason to give them a try. Whit Wilson, many of you know in the mortgage space, now at the Citizens Bank, ready to help you with your real estate goals. Stop by and visit 902 Sisk Avenue, Suite E in Oxford. Discuss your options with Whit or one of their experienced bankers who values your unique financial journey, makes every moment uniquely yours. While you're in there, ask about School Spirit debit cards and how they donate an amount per every transaction to the local school of your choice, whether it's Oxford, Lafayette, or Regents. That's the Citizens Bank. The Citizens Bank, PHILA.com.
We are also brought to you by Grenada Home Center. Paints by Benjamin Moore, Pittsburgh Paints, Farrell Calhoun, flooring of any and all types, stone countertops, granite, quartz, anything else. They've got window treatments, plantation shutters. Basically, they've got what you need. They can come to you as well. So Grenada Home Center, 1301 Sunset Drive, Suite H in Grenada. Call them at 662-226-3127. Arnett's Fine Jewelry is a fourth-generation jeweler located in the old Lamons Jewelry Building on North Lamar Avenue in Oxford. They offer expert jewelry repair, diamond engagement rings, wedding bands, stackable diamonds, genuine stone bands, pearls, color stones, diamond jewelry, and much, much more. It's also great for gifts. If your wife is expecting a baby, Arnett's can help you find that perfect push present, and it's not too early to start thinking about Christmas. They can certainly help you there as well. At Arnett's, they want to be your jeweler. The College Corner is in Oxford. It's also 2 locations in Jackson. If you stop at the College Corner, make a purchase, leave a tip. The tip goes right to the Grove Collective. It also gets you registered for an autographed Grove Collective football signed by Ole Miss's wide receivers. So check them out. Again, in Oxford, Jackson. Also, you can look at them online, collegecornerstore.com. We're brought to you by Argent Wealth. Argent, based in Ridgeland, Mississippi. They represent clients in more than 20 states. They provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. At Argent, investing is treated like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. So get in touch with those guys at myargentwealth.com. And we're brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you're thinking about a trip that you want to be a special one that creates a lifetime of unique memories, John can help you. Just get in touch with him, give him a budget, give him some parameters, give him some ideas. He will give you options that you probably won't find on your own. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net.
Podcast. Good grief. I'm kind of like all blah, 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 blah. Anyway, sorry. Podcast also brought to you by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer medicine for your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. One call to the pharmacy, and they take care of the rest on all those transfers. So whether you're in Holly Springs with Tyson Drugs or Oxford with G&M, that's 662-236-2222. The podcast also brought to you by Northeast Spark, fastest, most reliable fiber internet option available. Whether you're streaming the Rebels or connecting with friends and family, they offer residential and business packages with speeds up to 2 gigabytes. To learn more or register for service, that's AnySpark.com. AnySpark, get connected, stay local. No, I'm considering everything from a business standpoint of what we talk about and how we do it and where it kind of goes from here. That was a lot of my post Saturday night thought processes as I was going to bed.
What was the question?
Whether I feel frustrations and emotions of being an Ole Miss fan.
Oh,
I mean, I hear from a lot of you guys a lot. So I mean, I talk to people on Sunday morning, talk to people on Sunday afternoon, kind of what everybody was feeling. People that were in the stadium on Saturday night. I think that's important to get a read of sort of where you guys are. So, Ryan makes a good point. How many non-offensive touchdowns has Ole Miss scored this year? Have they had one? Has there been an interception or fumble return for a touchdown or a special teams touchdown?
I thought there was a defensive touchdown.
Was there?
I can't.
In one of those non-con games?
I choose not to remember those games.
I can't remember the 11 touchdowns against Furman. I got nothing.
I've been to every down so far this season. There's some that I choose to I would like to forget.
I've seen them all.
I've seen all 7 games live and in color.
You're going to be sad not in Gainesville.
I know.
Drew, thanks again for Super Chats. So simply because of the way the season's going, you guys might need this. And we're cool. It's fine. No problems. It wasn't like there was some mass exodus at the site yesterday. Let's keep this clear. It wasn't like 800 people said bye or something. So
no, that would have been significant.
That would have been a problem. Yeah. We would have had to reevaluate something. But
it was much less than that. It was fine. I made a joke of it. It was okay. I was trying to set up, hey, here's 10 weekend thoughts.
G-Man says, I'm surprised I'm listening. I told myself I was taking a break from Ole Miss, but here I am. I mean, it's one of the reasons why a lot of you guys listen to the podcast is it's sort of just routine, and we talk about a lot of other stuff and let you cope or wherever you are in your process. We got 2 weeks. I mean, Ole Miss doesn't play Oklahoma for 12 days.
I'm glad. I know some people would like to just roll right into it. I'm kind of glad I get to hit a refresh button.
You got a decent game. Will you watch any football Saturday?
I'm going to a game.
Oh, you are?
Mm-hmm. My annual Kyo football game.
So state last year, it's LSU this weekend.
That's correct. You get to see the Tigers twice in a row.
You'll be able to talk to everybody around you and fill them in on the Tigers and Nussmeier and pop off some stats. I mean, you'll be able to talk to the whole crew in your section.
Let's just say that will not happen.
Hey, let me tell you, last week against Ole Miss, Nussmeier, 6-16 on third down. He hit Kyron Lacey, blah, 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 blah.
Where is the beer? Oh, it's there? Cool.
Will you see the middle of the third quarter?
Is the game close?
Is that really what matters?
I would guess.
Does that dictate it at all?
We stayed last year the whole thing.
And it was close, but a horrific football game.
It was bad. It was laughably bad.
Yes.
But we literally stayed till the final snap.
Ole Miss did make $250,000. LSU was fined for rushing the field on Saturday night. It is their second offense of the season after they did it in basketball, apparently, for the first offense. So LSU has to write Ole Miss a $250,000 check for rushing the field on Saturday.
I watched the cops, man. They tried. They really did. I was down there actually at the end of the game talking to some of the law enforcement officers. They were braced for what was coming. They tried.
Really?
But at some point
it's not worth injury, or you're not getting paid enough for that. We're a long way there, but I would have said it was an impossibility, and we're already halfway there now, and it's not like that league is great, even though I don't see this happening. Army and Navy both 5-0 for the first time since 1945.
Yeah.
Right now.
Mm-hmm.
If they were to continue playing well and do this thing where they play for the conference championship against one another, and the American's not exactly great, but Tulane's there, I don't see this happening. They would have this weird scheduling quirk where they would play their conference championship game and then play again in their regular season game 8 days after that.
Right.
So you would play the conference championship and then play your, quote, meaningless game that is the big game a week later. It's an odd schedule.
I just don't think anybody ever thought this could happen.
And yet here we are.
And they both look really good.
In the portal era.
Did they
have continuity. Yeah. They have culture.
Yeah.
They're not worried about a 1 year.
No.
It's why, in some ways, it's why Vanderbilt's played well. Now they also have this quarterback that is very good. And that's why it's a quarterback freaking league and country.
Well, it's that. It's mostly that. But it's also that Clark did a really good job with his team in the offseason. He really did. I mean, right now he's the runaway SEC Coach of the Year.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%.
See Kentucky's record in their last – I don't remember the number. It's like 2 wins and – Kentucky's got a bad SEC record over the last – it's like 12 games or something like that. 10 games, 12 games. I can't remember. It's not good.
That was a bad loss, looking back. Even worse than we talked about the week of.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why I said
They got 3 losses. They got more coming.
Yeah,
they suck offensively.
A lot of people missed what I was saying about Ole Miss's resume yesterday because I got some pushback and my
2-12 grind says.
Ooh, wow, even worse than I thought. Wow. So,
yep.
In a world where Ole Miss wins out,
10-2,
they've got
a win over what would likely be a 9-3 Georgia.
Yeah, so
as of today,
they've got a loss to at least 3-loss Kentucky, and let's be real, they're going to lose more. So let's call it 5-loss Kentucky, and hell, it might be 6-loss Kentucky. They've got a loss at LSU, which as of today looks fine. I think LSU is going to lose games. I think LSU's solid. I don't think they're particularly good. And then look, I think we'll talk about lines in a minute. I think Texas will beat Georgia this weekend.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And so if I'm right, and in this scenario, Ole Miss beats Georgia, Georgia has at least 3 losses. And then you get into this, okay, well, who are your wins? Georgia obviously would be a big win, but it's not as big as you would have thought it would be before the season. And then who's your next win? Arkansas?
It could be
Florida?
Arkansas.
That's my problem.
It could be South Carolina.
Yeah. So that's my concern for Ole Miss in that scenario is that the committee would look at them and go, they didn't beat anybody. Because their non-conference schedule was deplorable.
Yeah, sure.
And that's not all their fault. They scheduled Wake a long time ago. It kind of is what it is. But Furman, Middle Tennessee, Georgia Southern, those teams aren't doing anything for you. I don't know, though. They might look at it and go, nope, 10 wins. SEC team, you're in.
And there's a real chance of that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not being rhetorical. I don't know. Literally, they might look at it and go, no, that's not good enough. Or they might look at it and go, hey, played in that league. You won in Fayetteville. You won in Columbia. You won in Gainesville. You beat Georgia. You beat Oklahoma. You're in. I don't know. And then it's hard to answer that because you don't know what else happens to everyone else. Is LSU a 3-loss team? Is LSU a 2-loss team? What is LSU? I mean, obviously LSU would have the win over you. Essentially a tie game. Yeah, I don't know. What would Missouri look like? What is 10-2 Missouri hypothetically? They wouldn't have much of a resume either. I don't know. What does the Big Ten do? What do they? Are there upsets in the ACC? Are there upsets in the Big 12? I don't know what that would look like. Beats me.
There's a chance Texas is 11-1, 12-0, and them everybody's 9-3. We just don't know. A lot of weeks left.
Grind says this. He's right that you needed Arkansas to beat Oklahoma State. Frankly, you needed Kentucky to beat Vanderbilt. You need some of these games to look better.
Yeah, you need an 8-9 win team on your resume.
Yeah, and you need Georgia to beat Texas, frankly, badly.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an Ole Miss,
in multiple ways.
If you're an Ole Miss fan, you really need Georgia to beat Texas Saturday.
Well, yeah, you don't need a Texas and A&M playing a play-in game where the loser might be still in too at the end of the year.
Well, you needed South Carolina to get in position to kick a field goal to win at the end the other day in Tuscaloosa.
Well, North Sellers, dear God.
Yeah. But, it's just kind of you hadn't gotten those games. You need those games. You needed Arkansas to beat Texas A&M.
It didn't happen.
It just didn't happen. So far, you just haven't it hadn't gone your way yet. Doesn't mean that it won't start going your way, but I think if you look at it in totality, it really just hasn't gone your way. You really haven't kind of caught a break yet. Not the breaks you can control or the breaks you can't control. So far, it just kind of hadn't been your year, frankly.
Which is why you don't put all the eggs in one basket.
Of course.
Because some years you get lightning in a bottle and some years you don't.
People get hurt in football.
Yeah.
Injuries happen. They happened to
Aiden Hutchinson yesterday.
Oh, my God. I was watching that live.
Lions are a damn good football team.
They were.
Maybe, well, right. Prior to that play, maybe the best team in the league. And yet, yesterday was an awesome. I'm getting the lines in a minute, and then we'll go into break and come back. Yesterday was an awesome Saints experience. You catch any of that on the way home? Did you turn WWL on?
I did not.
Did you not?
I was like you on the phone most of the drive.
So Buccaneers go up 14-0 within like 5 minutes in this game. I think they end up going up 17-0, maybe it was 17-3. And then the Saints storm back and score 27 points before halftime. Spencer Rattler looking really good for a lot of that time. The Bucs won 51-27.
Oh,
in this game. The second half was every bit of Dennis Allen comedy you possibly could get all in one place. I'm finding myself being very partial to Rattler, even though he had some tough moments, though.
Sure, he's a rookie.
I'm finding myself being very, 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 very difficult about that. I know what Derek Carr is. I know he's in the Kirk Cousins purgatory hell location. So
yeah, find out what the rookie
let's
can
see
do.
what this dude can do.
Because you're not winning a Super Bowl.
And I know what Jake Kapner can do, too. Let's see what Rattler can do.
Yeah, find out. Only one way to find out.
Is he my dude or is he not my dude?
Go play.
And then let's go from there.
Yeah.
And fire the coach in the process.
Yeah.
Dear, he sucks. I mean, they're banged up. I get it. Blah, blah, blah. They suck. Anyway. We'll do NFL later. Everybody have on their bingo card going into the year that Duke would be giving Florida State 3.5 in Durham this weekend?
Oh, yeah. I had that. I was on that one. I said I was worried about Ole Miss's offensive line. I was worried about safeties, and Duke will be favored by 3.5 over FSU middle of the year.
Speaking of weird lines, BYU, which is a good football team, they are giving 7.5 at home to Oklahoma State on Saturday.
BYU's good.
Undefeated? 5-1? 6-0?
I'm not sure.
Okay. They play Pitt. I mean, Pitt's undefeated too, right? Or they have like one loss? West Virginia beat Pitt? Or did Pitt win that game late?
I thought Pitt won that game.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I can't keep
Pitt and BYU are both having really good seasons. I guess that's where I'm going with this. But yeah, 7.5 BYU over Oklahoma State. Wake Forest getting 1.5 in Storrs, Connecticut. I mean, you just don't go into Storrs and get that thing done. So,
my God.
What the hell was the Missouri AD doing playing at UMass on Saturday?
I don't know. Somebody should be fired.
ESPN did that thing where they showed them walking in their locker room before the game, and it looked like a 6th grade Pee Wee team's locker room. They were walking in like this metal shed looking thing. Drinkwitz giving out all the high fives, talking to his dudes, and
he's always bubbly, Mr. Personality.
As someone said, it probably was the largest stadium capacity discrepancy in 2 weeks that is possible in college football history. Missouri went from playing at Texas A&M to at Amherst.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like 100 and whatever thousand to 17,000. What are they telling us?
Live with Cap and Jay Hood now. Bears head football coach Matt Eberfluss.
Okay.
He's on ESPN 1000.
Bear down.
Miami
Miami giving 4.5 at the Lou on Saturday, 11 a.m.
Okay. I'm trying to ask myself, for any of these games,
you're putting it on like a 1 to 10 scale to see if you get anything over a 5.
Like you? if the girls go, hey, let's go to JJ's.
What game are you trying to find?
Is there a game that I'm interested enough to go watch?
Late in the game, I'm interested in Louisville, Miami.
Maybe. Yeah. Sure.
Virginia and Clemson's not going to do it.
No.
Clemson giving 21.5.
Clemson may be a playoff team.
Rutgers giving 6.5 at home to a 1-5 UCLA squad on Saturday.
Well, that's a banger.
Piscataway is where it's at on Saturday.
Big Ten football, baby.
UCLA sucks.
They're bad.
It was their coach at Media Day that just froze up and said nothing, wasn't it?
We're from Los Angeles. I come from a middle-class family.
He said we're from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
A lot of you guys might not know much from us. We're from Los Angeles. Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
he froze. Probably a sign.
I half felt bad for him and half went, no, this is bad.
Oh,
this is saying everything we need to say right now.
It's not that I didn't feel bad for him, but I took it as they're going to suck.
Yes.
Like right away.
If you're the AD and your football coach does that, you go, oh, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
He can't get up here and just talk in front of a bunch of fat media members. That's all he's got to do.
Yeah.
Talk about your quarterback. That's it. Talk about the quarterback.
I mean, one year Hugh Freeze talked about his holder. I mean, just talk.
Well, he was filibustering.
He was.
He actually had a really good media day.
It was really well done that day.
He did. He was excellent that day. Northwestern getting 6.5 on their nice little stadium thing.
Yeah.
They got going against Wisconsin. Or are they playing this at Wrigley? They may be moving to Wrigley this week.
I think this might be the one that moves to Wrigley.
Okay. Well, they're doing the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Whenever that starts.
Yeah, Northwestern, Wisconsin at Wrigley. That's not bad.
Auburn is at Missouri, speaking of the Tigers. Missouri giving 6.5 to Hugh and his
all right,
Plainsmen on Saturday.
At least we register on the I might be interested in
You're interested in this game.
Yeah. No,
you're like an 8.
Yeah, no, if they said, hey, let's go to JJ's, Auburn and Missouri are on. Okay. I'm sure we got to do something. We're doing something at the Kyo house. I'm not sure what that is. Usually it's like a little tailgate in the yard. And then we go tailgate somewhere else.
Oh, yeah, 2 tailgates.
Usually.
Okay.
Last year was an 11 a.m. game, so we met at a house.
You playing cornhole and beer pong?
I will, sure.
Yeah, I'm asking.
Oh, I'm all in.
I like cornhole.
I get to go just be a normal person?
That's true.
Absolutely. Weather's supposed to be really nice, like lows in the upper 40s.
Is it?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay. All right.
No rain.
Okay.
It's beautiful this time of year in the South, man. The leaves start to turn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's pretty. I get to go be a normal person. Yeah, I'll play beer pong, sure. I'll play some cornhole. Sign me up.
Indiana hosting Nebraska in an intriguing Big Ten game.
Yeah, it actually is a really good game.
Indiana giving 6.5 to the Cornhuskers in Bloomington.
Kurt Cignetti's done a fantastic job at Indiana. I mean, he is a leading candidate for National Coach of the Year right now.
He'd get my pick, I think. I think he'd get my vote. South Carolina and Oklahoma. A bit of a loser leaves town match here in Norman between the Gamecocks and the Sooners.
That's rough.
Not a lot of offense in this bad boy.
I mean, if we're going to make fun of UCLA and Rutgers, well.
2 bad offenses.
In the spirit of fairness, this sucks.
Oklahoma's okay defensively.
Well, they're good defensively.
But that offense
is bad.
Woo, boy. Texas was never in danger. Not for 1 second.
Now,
they're good.
I think they're really good.
I do too. See the cowboy hat Cooper had on Saturday? It's huge. It was like way too big. Like the back went out for like 8. It looked like a cartoon.
No, I didn't see that.
I'll try to find you a picture.
Okay.
Yeah. It was weird.
Not the big gold one that the winners get.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, it was like 3 minutes left in the game. He was wearing a cap, wearing a hat.
Huh.
Yeah. I saw a picture on the internet. It could have been AI'd for all the hell I know. I'm not all into the deep fakes on knowing what's real and what's not.
No, it's kind of hard to know these days.
Bama and Tennessee, 2:30 from Knoxville. Alabama, a 2.5-point favorite on the road against the Vols.
You could tell me
any damn thing.
400 outcomes, and I'd buy it.
I don't really believe in either team, but neither team sucks. So you go, okay, I'll watch.
Tennessee hasn't scored in the first half of 2 straight SEC games now. We may have crowned them a little too early.
We probably crowned a little early.
But it's a good game, though. I mean,
who will you find yourself pulling for?
Tennessee and Bama.
Because I'm going to find myself pulling for Alabama, and I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I will probably find myself pulling for the Vols, but not enough to care.
Like, no, we're talking, again, when you are a human watching a game, there is some part of you that if you flip a coin, you have to pick a side.
Like, if I'm at a tailgate. And
I'm not going, I didn't sleep tonight because Tennessee beat Bama. No.
If I'm at a tailgate and it's 4:30 and we're tossing the beanbag thingy and it's on
the ball's in the air on the last play, every human's going to say they want it to be called or not called.
Probably want it to be the Vols.
Okay.
But I don't yet. I say that. I mean, I've got many more ties to Alabama, and I know people on their staff. I don't really know anybody at UT. But for some reason, the Bama arrogance has worn me out a little bit. It's nice to see them humbled.
You enjoying that?
A little bit. I mean, they're all up in arms over a close win over South Carolina. I'm like, hey, welcome to the real world, boys.
And I was very much for South Carolina.
I caught myself
Oh,
cheering.
there's no
hard,
doubt.
cheering hard for the game.
I wanted Shane to have a good night.
I was sitting on River Road in just bumper to bumper listening to that game on XM. I was actually listening to Chris Stewart's call.
Notre Dame probably going to win, but a little bit of a sneaky one against Georgia Tech on Saturday in Atlanta.
Yeah. Oh, in Atlanta for sure.
Tech getting 8.5 in this game.
He's done a really nice job there.
Yes. Big game in the MAC. Northern Illinois hosting Toledo, in all seriousness.
Oh, yeah. Is that Saturday?
Northern Illinois minus 2.5 at home against the Rockets. Jason Candle and his Rockets. Michigan and Illinois. Michigan only giving 1.5 in Champaign and Luke Altmaier on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm for Billima and Luke.
Oh, for sure.
All in on Illinois on Saturday.
I'm absolutely cheering for Luke.
Yeah. I've pulled for him all year. I got pretty invested in the Nebraska game that night when he was playing.
Yeah. I like his family. He's a nice kid. I hope he does well.
South Florida giving 13.5 to UAB. The internet was making fun of the game so much I had to turn it over and watch Army against UAB on Saturday because UAB sucks.
Yeah.
And they were in complete football hell facing that option for 60 minutes, just getting run up and down. Like it was 28-0 at one point, and Army was averaging 10.5 yards a carry.
Well,
you're just getting hammered.
Tell a coach before the game, you're going to get 10.5 a carry on the ground. He's going.
He ain't losing today.
Light that cigar. He's like, do we turn it over 9 times? No? Okay, we're in.
Yeah. Did we fumble every time we're in the red zone? No? All right. We're
that's what it would take.
Oh. 100%. Yeah. But I flipped it over there for like 10 minutes and went, ooh, this is. I mean, RP Navy's fun. Story of the year.
Yeah.
They're fun.
Yeah, so far.
They're good to watch. So, all right, we'll finish lines in a minute. First, you've had Wendy's nugs dipped in sauce, but you had them covered in sauce. Wendy's new saucy nugs take the crispy and spicy nugs you love and turn them up to 11. Choose between flavors like buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm. If you're a real heat seeker, try the spicy ghost pepper. Only a Wendy's signature spicy nugs. I dare you. 7 delicious ways to try the nugs you already love. Pick a flavor, grab some napkins, prepare to nug like you've never nugged before. For a whole new way to nug, it's got to be Wendy's.
Get the beautiful, healthy smile you deserve at Corinth Dental. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures that will result in a beautiful, long-lasting smile. From routine checkups to advanced treatment, including implants and Invisalign, Corinth Dental is here to help you achieve your smile goals. Schedule your appointment today. Take the first step toward a better version of yourself. It's corinthdental.com. I'll have a what he said, what he meant up for you later today, probably 5-ish, 6-ish, somewhere in there. It's brought to you by Andy Ludicky and myperfectfranchise.net. Andy owns multiple franchises and businesses. He uses his expertise to help others find their American dream through a very thorough and free consultation process. So call Andy, put your life and your career in your own hands. It's 100% free. You've got nothing to lose. Find your perfect franchise at myperfectfranchise.net or contact Andy at myperfectfranchise.net. You can call him at 404-973-9901. I'll have a mailbag to you on Wednesday. It's brought to you by Art Hayes, Sotheby's International Realty. Are you thinking of making a move? Put the power of Sotheby's to work for you. As a licensed agent with Sotheby's and a supporter of all things Ole Miss, Art can help you buy or sell in your hometown or anywhere in the world at no charge to you. Seriously. So call and ask Art how. 612-805-5929 or email art@arthur.hayes@lakesmn.com. We'll have picks to you on Thursday. They're presented by Kaiser Flooring with locations in Oxford and Batesville. Kaiser provides outstanding quality flooring products and installation services to residential and commercial properties. Kaiser carries the best in hardwood, laminate, vinyl, and tile flooring, as well as carpeting. Their goal is to offer amazing and durable flooring products and superior services to make your life easier. Kaiser installs your flooring quickly, delivers the best flooring experience possible. Get in touch with them at kaiserflooring.com or call them in Oxford at 662-830-3194 or in Batesville at 662-371-1912. Pete gets the week off since Ole Miss doesn't play, but you can still check out our friends at Meadowbrook Wealth Advisors of Raymond James. It's a full-service investment team based in Jackson, providing financial planning and investment management to clients across the state and surrounding areas. Ryan Geary and his partners are a local team that utilize the strength and resources of a national firm to bring their clients an impeccable level of service. This includes access to investment strategies and portfolio managers that are not available to all investors. So if you're interested in a no-obligation consultation or just want to be added to their monthly market update email list, reach out to Ryan Geary at 601-368-2215 or ryan.geary at raymondjames.com. Raymond James & Associates Incorporated, member New York Stock Exchange, SIPC. And don't forget, youth basketball registration has begun for Oxford Park Commission. Leagues open for both boys and girls, ages 7 to 15. The season begins January 7th. Games played in both the Coach Howell and Oxford Activity Centers. The cost depends on age, but the range is $60 to $65 per participant. Sign up at oxfordparkcommission.com.
Ole Miss still 2 weeks away from their next home game, but get a tailgate package with Johnston Hill Creamery, johnstonhillcreamery.com. They feed 10, 20, or 40, depending on whatever it is that you need. Everything from their pepper jellies and feta dip to larger items, specialty trays, artisanal, grazing, charcuterie, which is my favorite. All those things can be purchased right there online at johnstonhillcreamery.com. They are located in Chicory Market now. Stop in, whether you're trying to cater or feed tailgates or just looking for something for your family today. That's in Chicory. Again, johnstonhillcreamery.com to order and peruse all their options. Getting back into lines in a second, but I saw Doug Peterson would have been one of my top probably 5 NFL coaches even just a short time ago. Instead, is 1-5 Jaguars playing back-to-back games in London. So they have to sit over there all week right now after this 1-5 thing. And they asked safety Andre Sisco what the feeling was in the locker room. And his quote, how should I say this? A whole lot of quit.
Oh, wow.
That was the quote.
With 11 games left in the season. Woo. Misery.
After Khan had called this the best team assembled in franchise history.
That didn't go well.
Not ideal. At least the owner said it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Compared to anybody else that could have said it.
Jerry Jones was not happy yesterday.
No, a lot of NFL stuff. I'm kind of excited for tomorrow or Wednesday whenever we need that. A lot of NFL stuff. It was kind of a bad day, but a fun, chaotic day at the same time in football yesterday.
Yeah.
So, NC State getting 9.5 from the Cal Bears on Saturday. Dave Doran not having a great season.
No, he's not.
Not going well.
Cal's having a good year.
Should have had one over Miami.
Yeah. Again, the list of teams that could say 2 plays.
Tulane giving 21.5 to the Rice Owls on Saturday.
John's having a good year, too.
John's having a good year.
Yeah.
John's going to be able to parlay that bad boy.
Yes.
Tulane wasn't just Fritz. They've got a good system in place that if you're a good coach, you can win there.
Yeah.
Especially in that league right now.
They've had good coaches.
Ole Miss's 2025 opponent, Washington State, is giving 19.5 to the YU Warriors on Saturday. That money line didn't quite hit.
It was close.
They were 1 score in the second half.
I looked up, it was 13-7, and I was like, how about that?
And then.
Yeah, and then it didn't happen. Aka said he was heartbroken to wake up to see that
score. Heartbroken.
Heartbroken.
Yes. James Madison on the road giving 9.5 to those Georgia Southern Eagles Ole Miss beat a few weeks ago. In that game, Texas Tech -6.5 to Baylor. USC coming off just a terrible loss to Penn State, one they should have gotten.
I was sitting next to Michael Katz as that game ended.
He was not happy, was he?
He was resigned.
Was he resigned?
He sort of predicted it. I was writing basketball.
Early in the game, they were good, and then it just.
He was in the press box, had his headphones on. He was locked into the game. I'm writing basketball, and I was kind of keeping up with it by his body language, and I could tell it was getting close. And then I saw it happen, and he just took his headphones off and X'd out.
Did he really?
And then he had to cover a 4-hour football game.
It's been a bad year. You lose to Penn State like that.
4 hours in regulation.
It was. Oh, I'm aware.
4 hours.
The post-game show lasted an hour and 40 minutes, and we were on air for 6 hours and 23 minutes, I believe.
Yeah, I mean.
If I'm right. Something like that.
That's broken. That has to be fixed.
Arizona giving 3.5 at home to Colorado on Saturday. Credit to Deion, though. They play hard for him. They had Hunter out. They should have beaten Kansas State on Saturday. Played really well.
I heard an interview with him, and I can't remember who it was with. I was sitting on River Road. I don't remember, but he was impressive.
Mm-hmm.
If he would just be that guy 95% of the time.
Probably he's the other guy sometimes.
Yeah.
Texas A&M, Mississippi State. The Aggies giving 14.5 in Starkville on Saturday. State's played better.
I don't hate State plus the number.
I don't either. No. State's been better. They're not good, but they're playing hard. They're staying with him. They're averaging 24 points a game in league play. And that includes at Texas, at Georgia.
Yeah, A&M's got LSU next week at home. They might be looking ahead a little. Boy, it's a stretch for LSU, huh? LSU had Ole Miss, at Arkansas, at A&M before an open date in Alabama.
That's not a good stretch. Everybody has a stretch. There's teams in the league. Everybody has a stretch. Vandy is going to get win number 5 on Saturday. They are giving 26.5 to the Ball State Cardinals.
Yeah,
I had to think for a second on a
Vandy, a 26.5 point favorite. It's a new world.
LSU and Arkansas, the game you're attending, LSU minus 2.5 on the road in Fayetteville.
No idea.
I think I like LSU because of points.
I think I do too.
I think that's where I'm at.
Gonna be good weather. Hopefully they've worked out the beer line situation.
Could be a bit of a last stand for Will Hall on Saturday, hosting Arkansas State as a 6.5 point underdog.
It's over.
Either way, have a hard time believing that gets to 25.
Who's ULM got this week? Have you seen them?
Not yet.
5-1.
They are 5-1. Well, look, they have a New Mexico transfer too at quarterback. That state just hands you quarterbacks.
Got to take them.
Pavia, the kid from wherever it plays at ULM, I don't know his name.
ULM's 5-1. The only loss at Texas. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. Brian Vincent.
I mean, they've beaten.
Friend of the podcast.
Yeah. They beat James Madison. I mean,
John Hartwell, the AD at ULM.
Yeah. Had 20,000 people at the James Madison game.
Is that good for them?
Yeah. A couple of years ago, they had like 20 people at a game.
Okay.
Like you could count the people
they
at the game.
They still put the weird looking big thing on the side of the helmet. They have like the big. I like that one.
Yeah.
I mean, you're ULM, for God's sake. Do something funny with the uniforms. Nobody's going to know your traditional ULM.
Well, no, there is no tradition because they used to be NLU.
Good point. That's a good point. Yeah, Parrish offered you should still wear that hat.
Yeah.
All the time. He wore the NLU hat.
When I went there, it was NLU.
Yeah. West Virginia getting 2.5 at home from Kansas State. Memphis giving 10.5 at home to North Texas. And then the Georgia Bulldogs on the road in Austin. Texas giving 3.5 to Georgia. I'm laying them. Georgia's going to have to prove it to me right now.
I'm not convinced Georgia's particularly.
They were never going to lose to State, but they had lulls. They played with their food.
Yeah.
I know Beck had a big day throwing, but
yeah.
Texas kept kind of flipping over there.
Texas just looks good.
They do. They look really good. Iowa minus 6.5 on the road in East Lansing.
Boy, they beat the hell out of Washington.
They did.
Before I left, I had that game on. I was on the elliptical thing at the hotel, and that game was on, and that was an ass kicking.
Mm-hmm. Kentucky plus 2.5 at Florida. That's a fun game on Saturday.
I like the Gators.
I like this. I'm like an 8.5 on this game.
Mertz is out.
Is he out?
I think so.
If he was playing, I think Florida wins straight up, no problems.
Well, Mertz had stayed in the game. I think Florida beats Tennessee.
I do too. That's one that would have been really good for just the college football world that you look up, and Napier and Heupel would have the exact same record with Florida having a win over Tennessee in that game. Because we've been trying to fire Napier for months, and still think he's getting fired. But
I mean, I think
they've played hard without. But the problem he has is they're playing hard while limited, and the fact that they're limited is the problem.
Yeah,
that's the issue. SMU and Stanford in that ACC tilt on Saturday. Traditional ACC powers.
Yeah.
The Mustangs and the Cardinal.
How confusing.
Culture clash.
Team from Dallas and a team from Palo Alto playing in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
I don't think they're going to get along. Like, they wouldn't have a lot to talk about, these two fan bases.
Stanford and SMU? No.
I mean, they're both pretentious in their own ways.
Oh, that's for sure.
They both have their certain amount of exclusivity to them.
Oh,
But
oh,
is ULM off? I didn't get to it at all. And then TCU Utah is your late game when you need a game at 9:30 on Saturday night to check out the Utes giving 6.5 to the Horned Frogs. Yeah, I've got nothing on ULM.
all right, I'm looking to see. I don't think I'll.
You don't think you'll what?
I don't think I'll be watching a late game.
They're off. They play South Al in Mobile on the 26th.
Oh, okay. How about that?
They play Auburn on November 16th.
I know. Oh, believe me. Dear sweet baby
Just
dear sweet.
just what if?
Dear sweet football gods. A win over freezes. Oh.
Okay.
I'd be obnoxious.
All right.
Who's Ole Miss play that day, November 16th? Are we off?
That's the off day. That's off. Florida's the next week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's an off day.
Okay.
Because that's what they were talking about last week on the stream. They were saying if that game is close in the second half, fire up a live stream to just hang out with us. So, yes, that's that. All right, NFL, Lane Kiffin tomorrow. Lane Kiffin speaking today at noon. We'll have coverage of that at rebelgrove.com. Some content up today as well for some football and related activities. Neal's 10 Thoughts, which was quite long. It's there too. So all that, much more coming up on the site and the podcast as the week continues. So thank you. Have a good day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.